I'd like to call the meeting to order at 7 p.m. Would everyone rise for the pledge? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. Can we have roll call, please?
Chavez, Hightower,
Here.
Jackson,
Here.
Mason,
Here.
O'Connell,
Here.
Rosas, Sosa.
Yes.
Okay. Dr. President, did you want to say anything about the letter from, or can I just put that in with our correspondence? One from Maria.
I can go ahead and say something now. Do you want me to?
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
So in your place settings, we heard from Mrs. Rosas that she will be resigning from her position as a board member, which we are really sad about, but it's for a really amazing reason, because she is going to back to school to become an educator, which is just an amazing thing. So
Yes.
that is a tremendous amount of work, and we so greatly appreciate it. She is going to stay on the board though until we are able to secure a new, be able to appoint a new member. So we are very grateful for that. She was unable to attend tonight, but we will definitely celebrate her when we determine what her last meeting will
Oh,
be. Yes.
okay, okay. Super, okay. Could we have a motion to accept the written correspondence? Motion by Dennis, second by Rose. Could we have roll call, please?
Hightower,
Aye.
Jackson, Mason, O'Connell.
Aye.
Sosa.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Okay, is there any oral? For public?
No, there are no Q and As in our queue, so we are good to go.
So we can proceed. Okay, yep. Consideration of old business, we need a motion to approve the minutes from the regular board meeting September 28th and closed session from August 31st. Motion by Dennis, second by Rose. Could we have roll call, please?
Sosa,
Aye.
Chavez, Hightower,
Aye.
Jackson,
Aye.
Mason,
Aye.
O'Connell.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Okay. Do you have any old business?
We hear no old business.
Okay. Do you have any old business? Okay. Mrs. Vince?
Yes, before I read the suggested motion, I do want to point out in your board packet that on the summary sheet, there is a new line that identifies any expenditures for the referendum projects. The township treasurer, we met with the township treasurer last week, and they would like to track everything separate. It's already in Fund 60, but on the summary sheet, they want us to do a separate list and stuff, so you'll see that new line item each month throughout the rest of the construction projects.
That include hard and soft costs?
It's anything that,
All costs.
all costs that come out of that Fund 60, utilizing the
Okay.
revenue. Okay, so the suggested motion is that the Board of Education approve the accounts and claims payable authorization as presented.
Did you have any questions on the bills?
I did not have any questions.
Motion by Carlos, second. By Alex. Okay. Could we have roll call, please?
Chavez,
Aye.
Hightower,
Aye.
Jackson,
Aye.
Mason, O'Connell.
Aye.
Sosa.
Aye.
Motion carried.
And the monthly building rental report is continued to be included in your packet for your review, and this is informational purposes only.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. Dr. Sullivan.
No business.
Okay. Mrs. Travis.
No business.
Okay, is there any other old business? All right. Then we need a motion to recess into closed session for items A through D as listed on our agenda. Okay, Dennis, second by Ellen. Okay, be a roll call, please.
Mason, O'Connell,
Aye.
Sosa,
Aye.
Chavez,
Aye.
Hightower,
Aye.
Jackson.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Okay.
Okay, so for viewers online, we will be recessing into closed session. It should be relatively brief, so please stay tuned and we will start the camera back up when we return to open session. Okay, we are back to open session for our viewers online.
Okay, we're reconvening the open session at 7:12. All members present except Maria. Consideration of new business reports. We had a PACE meeting on the 15th of October. Our governing board approved minutes for our fiscal year 21 budget hearing. And also, we approved the minutes for the governing board meeting that was on September 17th. We approved the consent agenda items, which were payroll, bills, old business, and new business as presented. And under new business, we approved the contract for transportation services between PACE and First Student commencing with the 2021 school year through June 30th, 2023. And our next regular meeting is Thursday, November 19th at 6 p.m. And that's all I have for that. And are there any other committee? No. Okay. You're on.
All right. Okay, we ask that the board approve the license leave of absence request as presented for Emily Hayes, Octavia Altimer, and Frank Bua.
Okay. Motion by Rose, second by Calvin. Could we have roll call, please?
O'Connell.
Aye.
Sosa.
Aye.
Chavez.
Aye.
Hightower.
Aye.
Jackson.
Aye.
Mason. Motion carried.
We ask that the board employ the following personnel effective October 20th, 2020. Andrew Golick as a new MacArthur physical education teacher.
Do we have a motion, please? Rose, second by Dennis. Could we have roll call, please?
Sosa.
Aye.
Chavez.
Aye.
Hightower.
Aye.
Jackson.
Aye.
Mason. O'Connell.
Aye.
Motion carried.
We ask that the board accept the resignation of the following personnel. Jory Moten, teacher aide at Whittier, effective November 6th, 2020.
Motion by Rose, second by Dennis. Could we have roll call, please?
Chavez.
Aye.
Hightower.
Aye.
Jackson.
Aye.
Mason. O'Connell.
Aye.
Sosa.
Aye.
Motion carried.
We ask that the board employ the following educational support staff personnel pending employment paperwork. David Loza as a custodian at Whittier.
We have a motion, please. Rose, second by Alex. Could we have roll call, please?
Hightower.
Aye.
Jackson.
Aye.
Mason. O'Connell.
Aye.
Sosa.
Aye.
Chavez.
Aye.
Motion carried.
I would just like to acknowledge that we had several donations that were accepted on behalf of the board. We had a donation of a PPE kit with an approximate value of $793 from Ladon Hardware. We also had a scholastic grant of $500 to Whittier Primary School. And we had school supplies that were donated from Walmart to District 87. So we thank all of our donors for those much needed supplies. Just a couple items on my oral report this evening. I just want to give you an update in terms of kind of our metrics related to the COVID-19 pandemic. We continue to monitor them on a daily basis. We meet regularly, West 40 superintendents, we meet every Monday. Proviso area superintendents, we also meet separately as a group. I also meet separately with our Leiden superintendents so that we are constantly in communication about our plans. As you may have seen, if you visited that Northwestern metrics chart, there are numbers collectively across all of our zip codes for the District 87 community have risen substantially. We are now, I believe, in our 5th day, over 8% as a group, as well as over 200 for the new cases per 100,000, which are two of our indicators. So we continue to monitor that. Given that, I know that the Proviso area schools continue to stay in a remote setting through the rest of the first half of the year. So looking at plans potentially similar to us for second semester. Leiden has postponed their move to hybrid for at least 2 weeks as well. I know Schiller Park has shifted back to remote after being in a hybrid setting. Several districts have had to make that shift back to remote to do what is being called an adaptive pause. So we continue to just monitor as a state. There was a governor's announcement today regarding further mitigation efforts for Cook County. DuPage County put those into place last week. So we are going to hang tight, hopefully through this season of, which is typically our flu season, but also now we're seeing a rise in those COVID cases, continuing to practice our best efforts here, but also looking at continuing safe practices for bringing kids when we need to do special education evaluations, when we need to do language screeners for our students who are English learners. So we continue to do those in a safe, single-family approach, but we are, always looking for opportunities to bring students back, but we want to make sure that our metrics support when we do that. So that is an update on that. We also did our survey out to the community that closed on Friday. So I had the opportunity to look at some of our preliminary results from that survey, and overwhelmingly just really positive responses from our community about remote learning. And what I appreciate the most is that our community members, even when they had things that aren't going as well as they would like them to, they were very constructive in providing feedback to us so that our principals, assistant principals, our administrative team can reach out to them. If they're having technical difficulties, I know Mr. Byrne has reached out to some families. So it's better helping us target families that may be struggling, but overwhelmingly we had a total of 456 responses.
Wow.
And out of that, those, when we gave the ratings across each of the different categories about remote learning, consistently very satisfied was for the school day schedule, 62% very satisfied. Age appropriate instruction, 68% very satisfied. Amount of live instruction, 62%. Amount of independent work, 59%. Support for parents and guardians, 65%. The next highest in each of those categories was the somewhat satisfied. So we had very small percentage of families that had real issues with remote learning, and hopefully we'll be able to address those in the coming weeks. The last question that we did ask, because we want to constantly get like a temperature check of the community in terms of their comfort level with returning to school. So currently those families that indicated they were not comfortable at all returning to school, many giving the comment that until there is a trusted vaccine, they would not feel comfortable coming back to school. That was 55% of the responses.
Wow.
Somewhat comfortable was 29%. Only 16% of our families said that they were completely comfortable coming back to school. So again, we're using that data as one of our metrics to, really help best serve the community. And again, the comments that parents and families gave were very, very helpful and constructive in giving us the things that are working well, but also the things that we can improve upon. And so I think it was a really nice tool for us for these next, 8 weeks until winter break, to continue to improve and modify our program. Any questions or input or comments regarding that plan or the survey or where we are in terms of our metrics?
I do think our administrators deserve a real round of applause for how well they've handled this seriously.
Thank you. It is a huge team effort, and I think that we were well positioned when this started. I think we've taken a very cautious, but I think we've taken an approach that really reflects hopefully what our community is comfortable with and what they need. And supporting them through remote learning, no matter what phase we are in this, has been really a strong priority, and I appreciate the team doing that. We have on-site tech support for families every day for them to come in. Our meal services are there were a lot of compliments to teachers in the survey about how they're going above and beyond and really connecting with the children, helping them through this. So that's been really positive. So I really appreciate that support. Exciting news is our facilities update. We are going to be doing a community engagement webinar on Wednesday. So we hope you can join us. If you are available, you can just watch it from home. The link is on our website. It starts at 6 p.m. We have, our core planning group has done a lot of work and a lot of review, given a lot of time. I'm just super thrilled about where we are in the process. So what we had the opportunity to see, and what you will get to see on Wednesday if you participate, are some new renderings and drawings of Sunnyside and MacArthur. both the interior and the exterior, as well as the safety plan, kind of the construction plan of how they're really gonna lay out and phase the project and the impact that it's gonna have on the community and our immediate area. So it's been really exciting to watch. I think literally we had teachers and parents in tears last Wednesday, because it's like you can see what is to come and the fruits of their labor are really just right there. And it's really exciting to think that we will be breaking ground like next late spring, early summer, which will be here before we know it. So if you can, please join in, 6 p.m. It's really targeted, obviously, towards our Jefferson, Sunnyside, MacArthur side of the district. And then we will be, the next phase will then go to the North Lake Riley side to advance that, and we'll be doing something similar later in the year for that side of the district as well. But please stay tuned for more information to come on that, and Wold and Gilbane will be on the call to present the drawings and the designs, and then there'll be opportunity for Q&A as well at the end of the presentation. And lastly, I will go ahead and do this now, but we have a board member who has achieved a pretty big milestone that we want to recognize. One of our own members has earned the status of master board member by attending a significant number of trainings through the Illinois Association for School Boards. And so I want to recognize tonight Ms. Rose Mason with her our master board member. Congratulations. And that is all I have. Thank you.
Okay. All right, moving right along now. Ms. Zimmerman.
First, I would like to ask that our board approve the purchase of Overdrive Sora for the digital and audiobooks, $20,000 as presented.
Motion.
Okay, could we have a second? And Carlos. Okay, Dennis and Carlos. Okay. Could we have roll call, please? I'm sorry.
Mason. Aye.
You good? Aye.
O'Connell.
Aye.
Sosa.
Aye.
Chavez.
Aye.
Hightower.
Aye.
Jackson.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Like, wake up, Peg.
I think I want to just talk about in our work is our curriculum council. We had our first meeting last week, which was really exciting. The team was really enthusiastic about their role, and we started just talking a little bit about their why they wanted to be a part of this council, and what they would, how they thought that they could help support our team. And so then we did a lot of talking around our mission, our vision as a district, and then really about through the lens of our mission and vision, what collective commitments could we have a consensus and develop around our approach to the work, as well as our mindset around the work in terms of being innovative, having an open mind, always having our student achievement and our students' diversity, and moving toward global citizens at the forefront of our thinking as we kind of start the curriculum process. So I'm kind of really excited around that work. I think it's going to be a great team as we embark on all of this moving forward. We also had, during our Institute Day, our principals led their teams around the school improvement process. And now that we have our current data, we've completed our NWA assessments, our high ready. So we started looking at where were we in relation to our goals last spring when we left, and how close were we meeting those, and starting kind of with that lens, and then looking at our new data and bringing those together and trying to make some adjustments and decisions as a team in the buildings on where their next steps might be, even in this challenging circumstances and timing. So I'm really excited about the work that our teams are doing with regard to this multi-year planning. So we'll be bringing those to you soon, I hope next month, not December at the latest, for you to see the work they've been doing. And next, I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Byrne around the Class Kit platform.
Say that 5 times. So specifically in remote learning, but all the time in 2020, right, there's a lot of digital tools that we use to enhance the teaching and learning environment. In a remote setting, it's even more so, right, because all the tools that we use with students are digital. So over the summer, we had a task force that we assembled to identify which tools would be appropriate for remote learning. We identified Seesaw for our primary students, Mayan as a tool to get books in the hands of our students, and a few others. Teachers, primarily in intermediate and middle school, have been using a tool called Class Kick. It allows teachers to see activities that the students are working on, annotate, give feedback, grade. So during the summer, we said the free version will give us what we need to be successful, right? Because we have to make choices about what we pay for. So after using this tool, the free version, our teachers are really excited about using it. They said, all right, we're ready for the paid version, right? So we surveyed all of our teachers in the intermediate and middle school level. The feedback was overwhelming that we're using the free version, we like it. The paid version will give us some additional functionality. So we wanted to move forward with the purchase, so we wanted to just share that information with the board and communicate that's a tool that we were going to be moving forward with to help enhance the remote learning, specifically for our intermediate and middle school students.
That's all that I have. Do you have any questions?
That's the paid version? The cost?
It's $4,000 for intermediate and middle school, just under.
Annually.
Annually, thank you. And this will be a tool that we will evaluate after we transition out of hybrid learning. It's a tool that really meets the needs of teachers and students in a remote setting and may be into a hybrid and in-person setting, but we'll definitely evaluate that.
So it's a total of $4.
Correct. Okay, Dr. Berkeley said annually.
It's pretty reasonable.
Yeah. That is the nice thing. Most of the stuff is coming in fairly affordable. That really packs a lot of bang for the buck when it comes to teacher use, which is nice.
Okay. Is that it?
Yes.
Thank you. Mrs. Finns.
Yes, the summary of budget, statement of position, and the student activity reports for the period ending September 30, 2020 are provided for your review. The next item, the first step in the levy process is approving a tentative levy. And this year, the South Tria, the Cook County, is being reassessed, which roughly 2/3 of our properties fall into that South Tria, into the Proviso Township. You recall last year, the North Tria, north of North Avenue was part of the North Tria triennial reassessment. So one of the items that are part of the levy process is in determining what the amount of the levy is the consumer price index of the previous December. So December 2019 CPI was 2.3%. What does that mean? It means it generates roughly $447,000 of new funds, new monies to be used in all of our funds. In your attachments, the amount in levy in Exhibit 1 is higher. That is the ask amount. It includes the lower part reflects the bond and interest, which the community approved the new bonds for the 2020 issue and the issue that will be take place in around February 2021. So in the top part, we've spread out the projected amount that we will receive, or that we will request, based on some unknowns. We don't know what the multiplier or state equalization factor is. We do not have the full new construction growth information that will be produced by the 2020 levy. What we do have are some initial county assessor reports on residential and commercial properties. And that's available on the county assessor's website. It breaks it down by neighborhood, not necessarily by zip code. But because we're in parts of 6 communities, we don't know exactly what the overall impact is to the district. So I went through that, looked at all of the increases that they're projecting. Of course, the final numbers won't go to the county clerk's office until right before they issue the bills. So using that, I projected an amount that the increase may come in at, which would be would push us over the 5% limit, which would require us to have a levy hearing in December, a truth in taxation hearing. That will involve a public hearing notice being published, the hearing held before the board meeting in December, and then the final levy would be brought to you during the regular meeting for approval. So that's the long story involving the triennial reassessment. So there's a lot of information on the assessor's website, but none of it's just by school district or by municipality because of the way that the map is broken down. Anyhow, I have that. Exhibit 2 reflects what we are most likely going to receive. So exhibit 1 is the request, exhibit 2 is what we were most likely to receive. Are there any questions regarding the tentative budget?
I will have some questions. I want to understand this better. I want to understand the 30% increase in the 7 million.
Well, the 30% increase, because that includes the bond and interest. So the bond and interest was approved by the community as part of the referendum. So there's an increase in what we have to pay, compared to what we were paying.
But that's coming from the bond sales, right?
Yes, the 30% on there is a combined from the top and the bottom.
It's not that people's taxes are going up by 30%. Am I interpreting that correctly or am I misinterpreting that?
There is a combination between what the reassessment is, which increases the AV, and then the increase to the bond and interest. So the only part that we get to ask for now is what, to capture any of that increase in the equalized assessed value.
But to clarify, to Carlos's question, is that no, 30% is not the tax increase rate for the homeowners. That's our increase in revenues that we are asking for. When everything is multiplied out and calculated based on the EAV and the new growth and all of that. So it looks like a 30% increase in revenues because we're capturing that, but that tax rate increase is much smaller based on what our original projections were during the referendum.
Because it's coming from the bonds,
Yes,
A big
correct.
portion is coming from
Yes.
bonds.
which is actually going to be over a 20-year, 30-year period.
Yes, correct.
In other words,
Yeah.
The sales.
Mhm.
So, yeah,
The 30% is scary. And Mrs. Vince walked into my office and was like, I need you to see this before I show this to the board because I had a heart attack when I saw it. But they reviewed the numbers again and again with our financial consultants, and that really it's because of the impact of the revenues that we're collecting from the sale of the bonds.
To pay
For the
payments.
bonds, yes.
our payments in 2021. There are payments due, I think it's in June and December, that we make payments on the bonds. So the first bond payment in June will include the 07, the 12, the 13, and the 2020. December of 21 will include the bond payment towards the bond issue that we're issuing in February.
But that's part of that $300 or $400 increase that we communicated
Yes.
to the community,
Yes.
Yes.
telling them this is how much more your taxes are going to go up by.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yes, and I did the same thing. It stopped my breathing momentarily. And I even reached out to financial advisor to make sure that my calculations on the levy worksheet were correct. And I had her double check the calculations that were on the calculator that each resident could put in their tax ID number and figure out their increase. So yes, it is in alignment with what was presented.
And I'll reach out. Just to walk through it.
No problem. So the suggested motion is that the Board of Education approve the tentative property tax levy for 2020 as presented.
We have a motion, please. Carlos, second by Dennis. Could we get roll call?
O'Connell.
Aye.
Sosa.
Aye.
Chavez.
Aye.
Hightower.
Aye.
Jackson.
Aye.
Mason. Motion carried.
And just a follow-up, I do have a call in, an email and a call into the county clerk's office. They're trying to get a contact for me, actually for us and for the high school district to talk to the assessor's office. Okay. During the shutdown, the ISCO's annual conference that is typically held in the spring was rescheduled to November, and now is rescheduled to a virtual conference. So it is 2 half-day sessions in November, and I have been included as part of the presentation team on one of our Food Service Professional Development Committee breakout sessions. So that will take place in a couple of weeks. The Berkeley Joint Review Board meeting is scheduled on November 9th for the Berkeley TIP updates. Due to a conflict, I will not be able to attend, but Dale White will attend on our behalf and bring information back to us so we can share those updates next month at the November board meeting. Previously mentioned the IMR audit, and we are scheduled for the audit on a virtual audit on Friday of this week. Mr. Patel and I have been providing requested information already, so by Friday we are hoping that it's kind of a review of everything that we've submitted. And then I wanted to share another update on our SCIP renewal, our liability pool renewal. So I talked a little bit about it at the budget, during the budget approval process. And they are again seeing, they're again seeing changes in the marketplace where carriers are leaving the public market. And some carriers are still holding off, as I mentioned last month, some carriers are still holding off on their renewal quotes. Other things have come in, they are seeing some of the projected increases that they got. And we have the executive board meeting for SCIP is next month on the 13th and the 18th, which we hope to have the final renewal proposals. But they are still looking at the roughly 19 to 23% increases, which I shared. That's a little tighter range than what I shared last month. So I will, if we meet on the 13th, I'll be able to provide some additional information at the November board meeting, and if not, at the December meeting with the renewal. And then a nutritional services update. So the waivers have been extended. They had gone through December 31st. They're extended through June 30th of 2021. So we will be able to provide the weekend meals that we were able to provide during the shutdown and that we switched over to once they extended that. So we will be able to continue that. So that it's a great benefit for our families. I got our participation from Mr. Shelton and Mrs. Kasiba, and as of Friday, our student participation has increased 59% this month over September, and we still have 5 days to go. And Mrs. Kasiba shared some feedback from the families with me, which is very nice feedback that they, one of the families the woman was so thankful and so grateful, it's a Jefferson parent, that she made masks for all of the staff at Jefferson, for the food service staff. She spotted Mrs. Casiva, and then she made her a mask. She's just thrilled that we're able to provide this. We had a parent contact Mrs. Casiva, and she said that she had recently got laid off from her job and was running very low on food for her children. And she said, I really need this food to feed my kids, and I'm so grateful. And then we have a grandmother that is watching grandchildren, several grandchildren, and she walks to Whittier every day and picks up breakfast and lunch, and she just continuously thanks the staff at Whittier for providing the meals. So this is a wonderful resource that we're able to continue to provide for the community. And then the last item, in the past, Mr. Shelton and Mrs. Casiva had added a staff menu, which included salads, soups, or wraps, that it's an adult menu that staff members can purchase their lunch through the nutritional services department. And because we have limited staff on site, they were trying to create some way of continuing that. So they brought back a soup menu starting this week. And I looked at the sign-up sheet before the meeting, and there are several people that are signed up. So it looks like it's going to work out well. And it provides a nice service, and it's another way that nutritional services can provide service, but they have a profit margin built into all of those. And that is the end of my report unless there are any questions.
Okay. Thank you. Dr. Sullivan.
Hi, just a few updates from special services. First, I just wanted to report that we did receive our first results from the Panorama SEL, which is Social and Emotional Learning Survey. The Counselor Social Worker team has been working, and this is the first time we've done this, to administer the survey remotely. So very similar to how we did the MAP test remotely, we did the survey remotely. And close to 90% of the 3rd through 8th graders completed the survey. So we're really excited about that. And this is a typical kind of question. I'm just going to read this question to you. This is what the counselors and social workers were able to provide as a question for the students. So here's a typical. In school, how possible is it for you to change how easily you give up? And that relates with one of our parent strategies this year, which is to help parents with productive struggle with their kids. In other words, how do we help kids when kids aren't sure what to do? Some of the kids are quick to give up, and we want to work with those kids to inspire them to have strategies to continue to move forward, even if they're not sure what to do. So that's an example of how we're going to be using that data. We have it broken down by school. We actually have it broken down by student. So there's a lot we can do with it, and I just wanted to share that's good data, I think, for us to inform our parent engagement efforts this year. Another thing I wanted to mention just quickly related to we've had Title I parent advisory meetings at Whittier and Sunnyside, and this topic is definitely a topic parents are interested in. And one other thing I think is good news, I didn't have it on the report, but I'll do it real quickly. We received in October the After Schools Program Grant, which will allow us, whether it's remote or in person, for after school programming or summer school programming, $63,241 that was awarded during October. We also received, and Joe Byrne helped me work on this, the Digital Equity Grant, which will help offset some of our CARES technology needs. And that also came through in October, and this is for $173,717. So these are additional funds into our district to help implement some of the programs that we're working on, whether it's remotely or in person, because some of these initiatives, they're going to be here to stay, because some kids are going to need this service for a while. So anyhow, just want to share those with you.
I mean, that's all these grants that the administrators make every effort to obtain for a district. is excellent. How do we relay that information to our community? So when we have, like, for example, that gentleman that was here last year, that was fighting us on the referendum, how do we share that on our website? Or do we? I don't know.
Yeah, I think actually, you know, one of the things that I've thought about, and we haven't implemented, maybe for the website and or the community newsletter, is really kind of that dashboard. When we do the annual financial report, you get kind of a good graph of where our revenues come from. And I think if we break down, because sometimes we think it's all coming from property taxes, when really the majority actually come from outside of property taxes, because we do get so many grant dollars and state aid and federal aid. So maybe we could expand that and get a little bit more granular about the level of grants that we're able to secure every year. Because you know, Dr. Sullivan does an amazing job, and I don't think he's ever left a penny on the table when it comes to the grants that are available to us. And even when it's last minute, he puts it together to get a grant through, and it's a lifeline, really, for many of the things that we do. And the fact that we've never had to cut anything speaks to those grants. So I think that would be a great thing to like kind of highlight and blow up on our website.
Highlighting that, I think it's important. I hear him every session, he's sharing this grant, that grant, we have a technology grant, food services. I mean, there's just so many grants out there that we definitely take advantage. I think it's great to share that information.
Yeah.
We kind of highlight.
Yes, I love it, I will, yeah, absolutely.
Okay,
Yes.
thank you so much. Okay, Mrs. Travis.
All right. Listed for your reviews are the vacancies for certified and support staff. And next agenda item. And you may have heard in the recent news about scams and hacks going on, and an increase in them. Personally, I received several calls about my social security number and so forth. Well, I wanted to make you aware that in the district, we have received an increased number of fraudulent claims for unemployment. And how it like kind of got our attention is because the employees are working, right? And so I'm like, let's call. And so we just made it a practice to call everyone who comes across, but a lot of fraudulent claims. Like last week we had 4 or 5 people who are currently working. So we informed the staff to make them aware. We sent out an email to let them know this is happening. And if it happens, we contact them immediately with the proper steps to follow to, protect their identity and information. So I wanted to just make you aware and share, with you and check your own because it's happening everywhere. The next update I have is Mrs. Zimmerman and myself. We met with new teachers just to check in with them. They are joining education at a very difficult time. So we just wanted to check in and see how is it going. Are there anything that they need from the district, principals, and just very positive. They said they feel very supportive, just from principals, from their mentors, from the district. Very positive feedback. They talked about a few things that they, may need for professional development wise. Learned about the teacher evaluations system, so we talked about how to go through that. We also met with the mentors to see how is it going on the other side with the new teachers. And again, very positive feedback. They said that not only are the proteges learning from them, but they're also learning from their proteges because usually they can say, oh, well, in your classroom you do this, this, and this. Well, this year, no, because this is new to them as well. So they said they're learning and growing together, and they appreciate it. They're trying to keep in, constant contact with them, emailing, talking, texting. So I think this year, the proteges, and every year it goes well, but it's really going well in this difficult time. We encourage them to count on each other, to support each other, and if we can help in any way as a district, if any needs or anything is communicated, to let us know so that we can, reach out and assist. And
Zimmerman, did I leave anything
No,
out?
you covered everything easily.
I also wanted to say that, the new teachers just talked about how they appreciate the district and Dr. Bresnahan under her leadership, just taking safety seriously. They said that a lot of their friends districts, remote learning, hybrid learning, remote learning, hybrid learning. They said here in District 87, it's been consistent, they're aware of the expectations, and they really, really appreciate it. So, Mrs. O'Connor, when you talked about the administration team, I had already decided last month at the end of the meeting, I'm like, this is long overdue. And I just want to let you know that Dr. Bresnahan has went forward and backward. She's always meeting, talking to ISB, her colleagues, the other superintendents to keep us in a very safe and good place. And, she is really to be commended, and she counts on us to help her make these decisions. But I do understand and know that in her position, and sometimes she probably feels like, oh my goodness. But I just want to say, she's done a phenomenal job. She's built our leadership and our capacity to help her in the process to make these decisions. And we are in, a great place of steady learning because of their leadership. And I just want you all to know that I'm thankful and I feel blessed to be a part of this whole team. And also you, trusting and believing in us to do what we need to do in this time of the pandemic to do what's right for our students, our staff, and the community. So thank you. And thank you, Dr.
Well, I will just add, huge thank you, but I don't do anything in isolation or ever alone. And I watched that this pandemic is capable of tearing boards apart, communities apart, teachers versus administrators, administrators versus parents, parents versus the board. And I think my blessings every day for the fact that I think the strong get stronger when times get tough. And I think that's exactly what District 87 is doing. The parents, the students, the staff, the administration, and it's all under a lot of trust from this board. So kudos to everybody.
Thank you.
And unless we have any questions, that's the end of our report. But I do want to say, and tell everybody that on the board, that's Berkeley 87. We're family, we're supportive, we're love.
Okay, any other business? No? Okay, could we have a motion to adjourn, please? Oh, you're pointing at Alex. Just going by himself. Oh, okay, Alex and Dennis, does that sound good?
Yes.
Okay,
Thank you, so.
could we have more, please? We just appointed you.
Sosa,
Aye.
Chavez.
Aye.
Hightower.
Aye.
Jackson.
Aye.
Mason.
Aye.
O'Connell.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Okay, thank you, everyone.
Thank you to our viewers online. Appreciate